My child, if you are seeing this message right now, stop for a moment and listen carefully. This is not a coincidence. God does not allow messages like this to appear before someone without a reason. Heaven has been watching you. Every silent tear, every sleepless night, every moment you felt broken inside, God saw all of it. And today He is saying, do not give up now, because something beautiful is about to happen in your life. Before this blessing arrives, there are things you need to understand. The pain you went through was not meaningless. Those lonely nights were not wasted. The closed doors, the betrayal, the disappointment, the waiting season, all of it was shaping you for a moment that is closer than you think. God says the storm was never sent to destroy you. It came to prepare you. You have been asking God questions that nobody else knows about. Deep inside your heart, you have been wondering, when will my life finally change? When will I feel peace again? When will this burden become lighter? And God is answering you right now. He says your season is shifting. The darkness will not last forever. Joy is coming back into your life. There are people who gave up on you. People who thought you would never recover from what hurt you. Some watched you struggle and secretly expected you to fail. But God says they do not know what He is about to do for you. The same people who overlooked you will soon witness the favor of God over your life. The same people who doubted your future will be shocked by the way God lifts you up. God says you have spent too much time believing negative voices. You listened to fear. You listened to anxiety. You listened to people who spoke death over your dreams. But today, heaven is asking you to listen to only one voice, the voice of God. And God is saying this clearly: I have not forgotten you. Read that again. I have not forgotten you. Even when you cried alone. Even when nobody checked on you. Even when your prayers felt unanswered. Even when life became exhausting. God was still with you. Right now, there is something happening in the spiritual world that you cannot yet see. God is arranging things in your favor. Certain delays are being removed. Certain battles are coming to an end. Certain blessings are closer than you realize. What looked impossible before is about to become possible through the power of God. But the enemy has been trying to stop you with discouragement. Have you noticed how tired you have felt lately? How fear suddenly entered your mind? How hopelessness tried to steal your peace? That was not random. The enemy attacks hardest when your breakthrough is near. The closer your blessing gets, the more the enemy wants you to quit. Do not quit now. You are too close. God says the tears you cried in private are becoming seeds for public miracles. Every prayer you whispered is being heard in heaven. Every time you kept going despite the pain, heaven took notice. You may feel weak sometimes, but God says His strength is carrying you even now. There is a reason you survived what should have destroyed you. Think about that. Some of the battles you faced were strong enough to break other people completely, but somehow you are still here. Hurt, maybe. Tired, maybe. Confused, maybe. But still standing. That is not luck. That is grace. God protected you when you did not even realize it. Some doors closed because God was saving you from hidden pain. Some people left because they could not go where God is taking you. Some disappointments happened because heaven had a better plan waiting ahead. One day you will look back and understand why certain things never worked out. You have been praying for change, but God says He first had to prepare your heart. Blessings without preparation can become destruction. That is why God allowed you to grow through difficult seasons. He was teaching you endurance. He was teaching you faith. He was teaching you to depend on Him instead of depending on people. And now a new season is beginning. A season of restoration. A season of healing. A season of unexpected favor. A season where peace slowly returns to your soul. God says there is beauty coming after the pain. Do not let temporary struggles convince you that your future is ruined. Your story is not over. Heaven is still writing chapters you know nothing about. The miracle you prayed for may arrive in ways you never expected. Some of you listening to this message have almost lost hope. You smile outside, but inside you feel emotionally exhausted. You have been carrying pressure for too long. Financial stress, family problems, heartbreak, anxiety, disappointment. It feels like wave after wave keeps hitting your life. But God says this attack will not last forever. The night may feel long, but morning is coming. There are blessings that only arrive after endurance. There are miracles that only happen after faith is tested. And there are doors that only open for people who refuse to quit. God says your persistence is about to be rewarded. Do not underestimate what God can do in a single moment. One phone call can change your life. One opportunity can change your future. One breakthrough can remove years of struggle. One blessing from God can restore everything the enemy tried to steal. And heaven is saying your moment is getting closer. This is why you must guard your mind carefully. Stop speaking defeat over your future. Stop saying nothing good will ever happen. Stop believing the lie that you are abandoned. Your words matter. Your faith matters. Your mindset matters. God says speak life again. Speak hope again. Speak faith again. Even if you cannot see the blessing yet, trust that God is moving behind the scenes. There are angels fighting battles you know nothing about. There are delays being removed right now. There are prayers from months ago that heaven is preparing to answer. What feels silent on earth is not silent in heaven. God says your waiting season had a purpose. Waiting taught you patience. Waiting taught you trust. Waiting taught you strength. And now the reward is approaching. The enemy wanted your heart filled with bitterness because bitterness blocks peace. But God says release the hurt. Release the anger. Release the people who wounded you. You do not have to carry those heavy emotions forever. Forgiveness is not saying what they did was acceptable. Forgiveness is freeing your own heart from chains. God has greater things ahead for you, but you cannot walk into a new season while holding on to old pain. This is your moment to let go. Let go of fear. Let go of shame. Let go of regret. Let go of the past. You are not the same person you used to be. You survived too much to remain weak forever. God says the version of you that comes out of this season will be stronger, wiser, and more powerful than before. The pain changed you, but it did not destroy you. In fact, heaven will use your story to inspire other people one day. People will ask, how did you survive all that? And your answer will be, God carried me. There is somebody listening right now who feels unworthy of blessings. You made mistakes. You failed in certain areas. Maybe you even walked away from God at times. But hear this clearly. God's mercy is bigger than your failures. God is not finished with you. The enemy keeps reminding you about your past because he fears your future. He knows that once you fully trust God again, your life will begin changing in powerful ways. So today, choose faith over fear. Choose prayer over panic. Choose hope over despair. The enemy cannot stop what God has already decided to bless. And God says there are beautiful things coming toward your life. Unexpected peace, unexpected opportunities, unexpected restoration, unexpected joy. You may not see it yet, but heaven is already moving. Some blessings arrive quietly. At first it looks small, a conversation, a connection, a sudden idea, a door opening unexpectedly. But those small moments can become life-changing miracles when God is involved. This is why you must stay spiritually alert. Do not allow negativity to distract you from what God is doing. The enemy wants you focused on problems while God wants you focused on promises. Remember this. Every great testimony begins with a difficult season. Nobody receives a miracle without first facing moments that test their faith. And your current battle may actually be proof that something beautiful is close. God says there are certain things leaving your life in this season. Toxic relationships, constant confusion, fear-driven thinking, emotional heaviness, spiritual exhaustion. And in their place, God is bringing clarity, peace, strength, and favor. You are entering a season where things will finally start making sense. The prayers you thought were ignored will suddenly be answered. The opportunities you thought were gone will reappear. The peace you thought you lost forever will return. God says He is restoring what pain tried to steal. There were times when you almost gave up completely, times when you cried and asked, God, where are you? But even in those moments, Heaven stayed close to you. Sometimes God is working most powerfully during the seasons when you feel Him the least. Faith is not about seeing everything clearly. Faith is trusting God even when life feels uncertain, and right now God is asking you to trust Him again. Trust Him with your future, trust Him with your family, trust Him with your broken heart, trust Him with your unanswered questions, because what God has planned for you is greater than the pain behind you. Do not compare your journey to other people. Some people appear successful outside while suffering deeply inside. Your timing is different because your purpose is different. God knows exactly when your blessing should arrive. Delay does not mean denial. Read that again. Delay does not mean denial. Sometimes heaven waits because the right moment. The same people who doubted your prayers will see God answer them, not because you are perfect, but because God is faithful, and faithfulness is what keeps heaven moving even when humans fail. Right now, somebody listening feels emotionally drained from carrying responsibilities alone. You keep helping everyone else while secretly needing help yourself. You stay strong for people around you while quietly fighting your own battles. God says He sees your exhaustion, and He is sending strength into your life. Do not think your kindness was wasted. Do not think your sacrifices were invisible. Heaven noticed every act of love, every prayer, every moment you kept going despite the pain. Your reward is coming. The enemy tried to convince you that you are stuck forever, but seasons change. Winter never lasts forever. Storms eventually pass, and this difficult chapter in your life will also pass. God says better days are ahead. Days where your heart feels lighter. Days where peace returns. Days where laughter comes naturally again. Days where you wake up without carrying fear. You deserve to experience joy again. Not fake happiness, real peace. The kind of peace that only God can give. There is power in this moment right now. As you hear these words, something inside your spirit is waking up again. Hope is returning, faith is rising again, and that is exactly what the enemy did not want. Because once you regain hope, everything changes. Hope gives strength. Hope creates endurance. Hope keeps people moving forward until miracles arrive. And your miracle is not as far away as you think. God says continue praying even when you feel tired. Continue believing even when life feels uncertain. Continue trusting even when answers seem delayed, because heaven is still working on your behalf. One day this painful season will become part of your testimony. One day you will tell people how close you were to quitting, yet God turned everything around. One day you will realize that the breaking season was actually the building season. God was building your faith, building your wisdom, building your character, building your future. Nothing was wasted. Not the tears, not the waiting, not the heartbreak, not the struggle. God can use every painful chapter to create something beautiful. And beauty is coming into your life now. Receive that in your spirit. A new beginning is coming. A new level of peace is coming. A new opportunity is coming. A new season is coming. Do not let fear talk you out of faith. The enemy is afraid of the person you are becoming. That is why attacks increased. That is why discouragement grew stronger. But greater is the power of God within you than any battle around you. You were not created to stay broken forever. You were created to rise again. And God says this comeback will be powerful. Not everybody will understand your journey, and that is okay. Some people only saw your struggles, but they never saw the prayers behind the scenes. They never saw the nights you fought spiritual battles alone. They never saw the moments you cried while asking God for strength. But heaven saw everything, and heaven is responding now. There is restoration coming into your home, restoration coming into your heart, restoration coming into your future. God is able to rebuild what life tried to destroy. Never underestimate His power. He can open impossible doors. He can heal impossible situations. He can restore impossible relationships. He can create miracles from broken pieces, and He is still writing your story. So do not stop now. Do not give up during the final moments. Before breakthrough. Something beautiful is about to happen to you. A blessing is closer than you think. A miracle is already moving. A new chapter is beginning. And God is saying, trust me a little longer. Because what is coming will make sense of everything you survived, if you believe God. And as you continue listening to this message, God says there is another reason He brought you here today. There are things happening around you that you do not fully understand yet. Certain battles became heavier because your destiny became greater. The enemy does not attack empty people. He attacks people carrying purpose. He attacks people who are close to breakthrough, and that is why the pressure around your life increased recently. But hear this clearly. The pressure will not break you. It will reveal the strength God placed inside you. For too long you questioned your value because of what people did to you. Rejection made you feel unwanted. Betrayal made you feel difficult to love. Failure made you feel unqualified. But God says human opinions never had the authority to define your destiny. People may misunderstand you, overlook you, or walk away from you, but none of that changes what heaven says about you. And heaven says you are still chosen. You are still loved. You are still valuable. There is somebody hearing this right now who has been silently fighting emotional battles every single day. You wake up tired. You smile even when your heart feels heavy. You try to stay positive, but deep inside there are moments when fear suddenly surrounds your thoughts. The enemy has been trying to drain your spirit little by little. But today God is interrupting that attack. He is breathing strength back into your soul. You survived days you thought would destroy you. Think about that carefully. There were moments when you believed you could not continue anymore, yet somehow God carried you through. You may not have noticed it at the time, but heaven was protecting your mind from breaking completely. Every time you almost collapsed emotionally, God gave you just enough strength to keep moving. That was grace, not luck, not coincidence. Grace. And the same God who carried you before will carry you through this season too. Do not allow temporary pain to make permanent decisions for your life. Some of you became so discouraged that you almost stopped dreaming completely. You started expecting disappointment because disappointment became familiar. You stopped getting excited about the future because life kept hurting your expectations. But God says hope must return to your heart again. You cannot enter a new season while speaking death over your future. This is the moment to believe again. Believe that healing is possible. Believe that peace is possible. Believe that restoration is possible. Believe that joy can return again. The enemy wants you trapped in survival mode forever. He wants you constantly afraid, constantly anxious, constantly doubting yourself, because a fearful mind struggles to hear the voice of God clearly. That is why heaven is telling you now. Be careful what voices you allow into your spirit. Not every opinion deserves your attention. Not every criticism deserves your emotions. Not every negative word deserves space in your mind. Some people speak from their own brokenness. Some people project their fears onto others. Some people try to limit you because they never discovered their own purpose. But God says, do not shrink yourself to fit inside other people's limitations. You were created for more. There is greatness inside you that has not fully appeared yet. Even after all the pain, all the mistakes, all the setbacks, God still has beautiful plans for your future. Nothing the enemy tried against you was powerful enough to cancel your destiny. And that should give you hope tonight. Because if God protected you through every attack before, He will continue protecting you now. Somebody listening has been praying for a sign. You ask God to show you whether your situation will ever improve. And God says this message is part of that confirmation. Change is already beginning behind the scenes, even if your eyes cannot fully see it yet. Do not judge your future by your current circumstances. Some seasons look empty right before harvest arrives. A farmer plants seeds and waits patiently because growth happens underground first. For a while, nothing appears visible. But beneath the surface, life is developing quietly. Your life is in a similar season. God has been working underground, working behind closed doors, working in conversations you know nothing about, working through delays you did not understand, and Soon the results will become visible. You are closer than you realize. The enemy keeps trying to remind you about what you lost, but God keeps focusing on what is still coming. Stop mourning seasons that heaven already closed. Some chapters ended because your future required separation from certain people and environments. Not everyone can go where God is taking you. Some people only belonged in one chapter of your life, not the entire story. And that hurts sometimes, especially when you genuinely loved people, especially when you gave your heart sincerely, especially when you tried your best to keep relationships alive. But God says stop blaming yourself for every ending. Some endings were protection, some endings were redirection, some endings were necessary for your growth. One day you will thank God for doors that closed. Right now it hurts because you cannot yet see the full picture. But heaven sees what you cannot see. God knows which relationships would have delayed your destiny. He knows which environments would have drained your peace. He knows which paths would have led to destruction later. So even painful endings can become hidden blessings. There is also somebody hearing this message who feels tired financially. You have been carrying stress about bills, responsibilities, and uncertainty about the future. Sometimes you try not to think about it, but deep inside the pressure feels overwhelming. God says do not let financial fear consume your peace completely. Yes, wisdom matters, hard work matters, responsibility matters, but worry will not create miracles. Fear cannot solve what only God can provide. And heaven says, provision is coming. Opportunities are coming. Ideas are coming. Connections are coming. Unexpected help is coming. Do not lose faith.